Yeah, can you start with the invocation, please, Usha Mataji?
Sure. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Ityavedi Hadarya Mayam Sa Bhagavan Para Adidesava Vishnisdaksha Atmanam Paramasthetimam.
When I thus expressed my heartfelt desires unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the lotus-eyed Lord instructed me about his transcendental situation.
Text 20. Sa eva maradita padartirtha dadhitva tattvatma vibodha margah pranayama pado parivritya deva miha gato aha virahatura atma.
I have studied the path of understanding self-knowledge from my spiritual master, the personality of Godhead, and thus, after circumambulating him, I have come to this place very much aggrieved due to separation. Hare Krishna, I understand that
Hare Krishna. Yeah, the girls are here.
Thank you.
Continue.
Usha Mataji and I will stop now. If the girls can take over, please. Thank you.
Pavni, can you start, please? Text 21, please.
Sure. Soham tadarshana radha Viyogarti prabho gamishye dayitam tasya badarya mandalam.
My dear Vidura, now I am mad for want of the pleasure of seeing him, and just to mitigate this, I am now proceeding to Badarikashram in the Himalayas for association, as I have been instructed by him.
Yatra narayano devo narascha bhagavan rishi mridu titvam tapo dirgam te pate loka bhavano.
There is Badikashram, the personality of Godhead, in his incarnation as the sages Nara and Narayana has been undergoing great penance since time immemorial for the welfare of all amiable living entities.
Shuka uvacha ityudhavadupakarnya suhridam durshaham vadam jnane shamayat kshata shokam utpatitam buddha.
Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, after hearing from Uddhava all about the annihilation of his friends and relatives, the learned Vidura pacified his overwhelming bereavement by dint of his transcendental knowledge. Mataji, can you scroll?
Satam Mahabhagavatam Vrajantam Kauravarshabha Vishrambhadabhyade Tattam Mukyam Krishna Parigrahe.
While Uddhava, the chief and most confidential amongst the devotees of the Lord, was going away, Vidura, in affection and confidence, questioned him.
Vidarovacha Jnanam Param Swatmaraha Praksham Yadaha Yogeshwara Ishwaraste Vaktum Bhavano Nriti Yadhi Vishnur.
Vidura said, O Uddhava, because the servants of Vishnu, the Lord, wonder in the interest of serving others, it is quite fit that you kindly describe the self-knowledge with which you have been enlightened by the Lord himself.
उद्धव उवाच ननु ते तत्त्वसम्राध्य ऋषिकौशारवोऽन्निके साक्षात् भगवतादिष्टो मर्त्यलोकं जिहासता.
Sri Uddhava said, "You may take lessons from the great learned sage Maitreya, who is nearby and who is worshipable for reception of transcendental knowledge. He was directly instructed by the personality of Godhead while he was about to quit this mortal world."
श्रीशुक उवाच इति सः विदुरेण विश्वमूर्तेर्गुणकथाय सुधय प्लावितोरतापा क्षणमिव पुलिना यमस्वासुसिस्तं समुसीत औपागविर्निशं ततोऽगात्.
Shukadeva Goswami said, "O king, after thus discussing with Vidura the transcendental name, fame, qualities, etc., on the bank of the Yamuna, Uddhava was overwhelmed with great affliction. He passed the night as if it were a moment, and thereafter he went away."
राजोवाच निधनमुपगतेषु वृष्णिभोजेष्व अधिराथयुत्थापयुत्थापेषु मुख्या स तु कथमविशिष्टोत्थेवो यद् धारीरपि तद्यजाकृतं त्राजिषा.
The king inquired, at the end of the pastimes of the Lord of the three worlds, Sri Krishna, and after the disappearance of the members of the Vrishni and Bhoja dynasties, who were the best of the great commanders, why did Uddhava alone remain?
श्रीशुक उवाच ब्रह्मशापादेशेन कालेनामोघवञ्चिता संहृत्य स्वकुलं स्फीतं त्यक्ष्यं देहमचिन्तयत्.
Shukadeva Goswami replied, "My dear king, the cursing of the Brahmanas was only a plea, but the actual fact was the supreme desire of the Lord. He wanted to disappear from the face of the earth after dispatching his excessively numerous family members. He thought to himself as follows:
अस्माल्लोकादुस् उपरते मयि ज्ञानमदाश्रयम् अर्हत्युद्धव एवाध सम्प्रत्यात्मावतां वरा.
Now I shall leave the vision of this mundane world, and I see that Uddhava, the foremost of my devotees, is the only one who can be directly entrusted with knowledge about me."
नोद्धवोर्मपि मन्युनो यद्गुणेनार्जिता प्रभु अतो मद्वयुनं लोकं ग्राहयन्निह इह तिष्ठतु.
Uddhava is not inferior to me in any way because he is never affected by the modes of the material nature. Therefore, he may remain in this world in order to disseminate specific knowledge of the personality of Godhead.
एवं त्रिलोकगुरुणा सन्दिष्टशब्दयोनिना बद्धर्याश्रममासाद्य हरेमीजे समाधिना.
Shukadeva Goswami informed the king that Uddhava, being thus instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the source of all Vedic knowledge and the spiritual master of the three worlds, reached the pilgrimage site of Badrikashram and engaged himself there in trance to satisfy the Lord.
विदुरोऽप्युद्धवात् श्रुत्वा कृष्णस्य परमात्मना हृदयोपातदेहस्य कर्माणि श्लाघितानि च.
Vidura also heard from Uddhava about the appearance and disappearance of Lord Krishna, the Supersoul, in the mortal world, which is a subject matter sought after with great perseverance by the great sages.
देहन्यासं चित्तस्येवं धीराणां धैर्यवर्धनम् अन्येषां दुष्करातरं पशूनां विक्लवात्मनाम्.
The Lord's glorious acts and his acceptance of various transcendental forms for the performance of extraordinary pastimes in the mortal world are very difficult for anyone other than his devotees to understand, and for the beasts, they are simply a mental disturbance.
आत्मनं च कुरु श्रेष्ठ कृष्णेन मनसीक्षितं ध्यायन् गते भगवते रुरोधा प्रेम विवला.
Understanding that he was remembered by Lord Krishna while quitting this world, Vidura began to cry loudly, overwhelmed by the ecstasy of love.
कालिन्द्या कतिभिः सिद्धा अहोभिर्भरतर्षभा प्रापद्यत स्वसरितं यत्र मित्रसुतो मुनिः.
After passing a few days on the bank of the river Yamuna, Vidura, the self-realized soul, reached the bank of the Ganges, where the great sage Maitreya was situated.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for the beautiful recitations, dear Pavani and Inakshi.
Thank you, Mataji.
Beautiful recitations. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Unfortunately, Krishna Govinda Prabhuji, who was supposed to facilitate our class tonight, is unable to join us. So I've been advised by Vrindavan Chandra Prabhuji that we should read, or we could read the verses and the purports, and then have some realizations, and then we'll have the bhajan after that, and then we'll close and wrap up the session. So the verses that we are reading tonight are Canto 3, Chapter 4, 28 to 29. So Jyoti Mataji, would you mind sharing those verses, please, 28 to 29? Thank you very much. Yes, we can see the verses now. Would any volunteer like to read the Sanskrit and the English, please? And then we'll get another volunteer to read the purport. Anyone would like to volunteer? Hare Krishna. Namrata Mataji, would you like to read the Sanskrit, please?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Unless, sorry, did somebody else wanted to try? Sorry, I didn't realize.
Yeah, sorry, Namrata Mataji, let's all recite the Mangala Charan prayer first before we start, or let's all do that. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Rupam Agrajatam Sahagana Raghunatha Sajim Dvaitam Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gora Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So, dear devotees, a warm welcome to Chad tonight. Once again, sincere apologies that Krishna Govinda Prabhuji is unable to join us. So, I've been advised that we can read the verses, we can have reflections and realizations.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I'm here. We can do it also same time. It's all right.
Oh, lovely. So, Mamta Mataji, are you volunteering to
We
facilitate
can do
the
it all
class?
together. We can sit together and do it. That's okay.
Lovely. Thank you. So, Mamta Mataji, would you like to read the Sanskrit verse,
Oh,
please?
I think Prabhuji has joined Mataji.
Yes.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Prabhu
Krishna.
just
Hare
joined.
Krishna.
Oh, okay. I got a message saying if someone else could facilitate. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Govinda Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji has joined. Sorry.
What a nice surprise. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Maybe he's just logging in. So while waiting, let's do the Sanskrit verse. Okay.
Sorry, Mataji, did you wanted me to do it?
Yes,
Hare Krishna?
please. Yes, please.
Okay. Okay, Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 3, Chapter 4, Text 28. Rajo Uvacha Nidhanam Upagateshu Vrishni Bhojeswa Adhirata Yut Apa Yuthapeshu Mukhyaha Satu Katham Avasista Uddhavo Yad Darir Api Tatyeja Akritim Traya Dishaha. Do you want me to do the translation, Mataji?
Let me check with Prabhuji if he's ready to take
Sure.
over. Hare
Uh,
Krishna, Krishna Govinda Prabhuji, are you ready to take
Yeah,
over,
my
please?
sincere apologies to all of you. Please forgive me. Due to my ignorance and just coming back from holiday last week, I didn't check properly to see who was on the rota. Please carry on, Mataji, if you can. Thank you.
Okay. Please let me know when you're able to take over. Thank you. So, Namrata Mataji, would you like to
Sure.
read the translation, please? And someone else can read the purport. Thank you.
Okay, Mataji, translation. The king inquired, at the end of the pastimes of the Lord of the three worlds, Sri Krishna, and after the disappearance of the members of the Vrishni and Bhoja dynasties, who were the best and of the great commanders? Why did Uddhava alone remain?
Thank you so much, Namrata Mataji. So nicely read. Thank you. Any volunteers for the purport, please?
I can read Mataji.
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 4, 28 verse. According to Sri Jiva Goswami, Nidhanam means the transcendental abode of the Lord. Ni means the highest, and Dhanam means opulence. And because the abode of the Lord is the highest manifestation of transcendental opulence, his abode can therefore be called Nidhanam. Apart from the grammatical elucidation, the real purpose of the word Nidhanam is to indicate that all the members of the Vrishni and Bhoja dynasties were direct associates of the Lord, and after the end of his pastimes, all the associates were dispatched to their respective positions in the transcendental abode. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura elucidates the meaning of Akritam as pastimes. A means complete, and Kritam means transcendental pastimes. Since the Lord is identical with his transcendental body, there is no question of his changing or quitting his body to act in accordance with the rules and customs of the material world. The Lord seems to take his birth or leave his body, but the pure devotees of the Lord know well the actual fact. It is necessary, therefore, for the serious students of Srimad Bhagavatam to follow the notes and comments of the great acharyas like Jiva Goswami and Vishwanatha Chakravarti. To others who are not devotees of the Lord, the comments and explanations of such acharyas may appear to be grammatical jugglery, but to the students who are in the line of disciplic succession, the explanations of the great acharyas are quite fit. The word upagateshu is also significant. All the members of the Vrishni and Bhoja directly reach the abode of the Lord. Other devotees do not reach the abode of the Lord directly, but the pure associates of the Lord have no attraction for the opulence of any planets of the material world. Sometimes, due to inquisitiveness, devotees who are to be promoted to the abode of the Lord have some attraction for the opulence of the higher material planets above the earth, and thus they desire to see them while going up to the perfection. But the Vrishnis and Bhojas were directly dispatched because they had no attraction for material planets. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura also suggests that, according to the Amara Kosha dictionary, Akriti also means signal. Lord Krishna ordered Uddhava by signal to go to Baddhikashrama after his departure, and Uddhava, as a pure devotee of the Lord, carried out the order more faithfully than going back to Godhead or the abode of the Lord. That was the cause of his remaining alone even after the departure of the Lord from the face of the earth. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shall I, before we go into the next verse, shall I say a few words from this purport?
Yes, please, Prabhuji. Thank
Yeah,
you.
okay. So I just recite the introduction prayers. Om Jnana Timrandasya Jnana Jana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tatati Swapadantikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakamitam Cha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapate Gopisha Gopika Kakanta Radha Kanta Namustate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hare Priya Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaiva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pujayane Nevashvesa Sunyamani Pashatya Desatayane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shvasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining in today for today's chat class, 24th of November 2024. Once again, I do apologize due to my ignorance. I did not check my messages to show that I was actually going to be facilitating today. I kindly pray to Respect Master Srila Prabhupada and to Bhakti Swami and to all the Vaishnavas assembled here that I may be able to speak on some wonderful topics on the pastimes of Shri Radha and Krishna. So I've been away for a few weeks, so I have to try and catch up with exactly some of the pastimes you were reading over the last few weeks. But here we can understand that at the moment, it's coming to the end of the year, these Dwapara Yuga, and in line with the Kali Yuga itself. So this is a time when Lord Krishna is about to disappear or is disappearing, and all the members of the Vrishni and the Bhoja dynasties are also going to be going with Krishna himself as well. It just so happens that during the Battle of the Mahabharata, during the Battle of Kurukshetra, that because Dhritarashtra's wife, she was very upset that all her children were killed during the Battle of Kurukshetra. She placed a curse on Krishna that all his dynasty will be evaporated as well. But of course, it's all part of the Leela that Krishna wanted to fulfill because he wanted to get all the Kshatriya warriors removed from the planet because they were becoming overburdened with taking too much control of the material world and not actually being extinguishing or establishing the principles of religion such. And because Lord Krishna and all his entourage were leaving at the same time, but he asked Uddhava to remain behind. And there's a reason behind that, because he goes to Bhadraka where he meets his spiritual masters who actually also guide him, or rather, he teaches Vidura, he teaches the Maitreya Muni as well, I think it is, Maitreya Muni, about the pastimes and leelas of Sri Krishna. So here, on this particular verse, Sri Jiva Goswami is referencing the word Nidanam. He mentions that Ni means the highest, Adanam means opulence. You normally see, whenever you go to India, you see the word Dhanlakshmi. Dhanlakshmi refers to Mother Lakshmi Devi, who is the goddess of wealth, goddess of opulence, goddess of prosperity, happiness, and peace. So here the word Nidanam is referring to the highest transcendental abode. So Krishna, although he's come 5,000 years ago through the requests of the demigods, Lord Brahma, because of the burden that's been caused by all the demonic rulers on the planet Earth, Kamsa, all the demonic demons who tried to attack Krishna in Vrindavan during his pastimes. So here, now that his transcendental pastime is coming to an end in Dwarka, all his entourage is also leaving with him as well. But at the same time, those who are remaining behind are destroying each other because of the curse the boys had received from the Brahmanas when they tried to mock the Brahmanas by putting a metal mace hidden away to form like a womb of a boy who was dressed as a woman. When they asked the Brahmanas if it's going to be a boy or a girl, and the Brahmanas were very upset that the cheeky boys were coming before them in such a situation that they cursed the children that this mace will be the destruction of the whole Yadu dynasty. So when they actually heard that this was going to happen, they spoke to, I believe it's King Ugrasena, and said, this is what's happened. They made a great mistake. They've been cursed by the Brahmanas. This mace will be the disqualification of the Yadu dynasty. And King Ugrasena said, okay, you want to break the mace up into hundreds and thousands of pieces and disperse it into the ocean. And that's exactly what the boys did. They smashed into small, tiny fragments and they threw it into the ocean. There was one particular shrapnel which was swallowed by a fish, and that fish was captured by a hunter. The hunter, when he cut the fish open, he saw a very sharp metal object, and he used that as the tip of his arrow. And that arrow he actually used when he was hunting a deer in the forest. He mistook Lord Krishna's lotus feet who was resting underneath the tree, and he thought it to be the shadow or the profile of a deer. And he used that arrow, which had been already cursed, be the cause of the destruction of the Yadu dynasty. And of course, Krishna is the master of all the Yadu dynasty. And he was struck by that particular arrow on his toe. Of course, there's a pastime. Krishna came in the form of a human being, but he's still the supreme personality of Godhead. And in the Bhagavad Gita, it mentions that fools deride when I descend in this human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the supreme Lord of all that be. He only reveals himself to his pure devotees. He doesn't even reveal to his wives, to the gopis. They just see him as a coward boy. The friends only see him as a coward boy. For Mother Yashoda and the Maharaj, they don't see Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. In fact, they pray to Vishnu, they pray to the demigods to protect their dear loved one, Gopal, from all the difficulties that's been arising in Vrindavan. To them, they just see him as their beloved son. To the gopis, they see him as a beloved lover. To the coward boys of Vrindavan, they just see Krishna as a dearmost friend. So in this way, Krishna doesn't reveal his identity to his very close associates, but only to his pure devotees like Arjuna. Even Arjuna misunderstood who Krishna was. He just assumed that was a very dear friend. And he actually apologized to Krishna, in jest, I didn't realize that you're the supreme personality of Godhead. I've eaten from the same plate as you. We slept on the same bed together. I joked and laughed with you, not realizing your supreme personality of that sort of realm, that even the demigods worship him. So in this way, Lord Krishna, as he passes away, as mentioned in this purport, all the inhabitants of that particular Yadu dynasty, the Vishnu and Bhoja dynasty, they also reach the direct abode of the Lord. So here it mentions that the devotees do not reach the abode of the Lord directly, but the pure devotees have no attraction for any of the opulence of planets of the material world. So once in a class by His Holiness Bhaktacharya Swami, he was explaining that, like, even when you are at that point of leaving your body and you want to go to the spiritual world and you're praying to Krishna, there's so many visions that is presented before you when you go to the heavenly planets. And that is a way just to see how much faith you have in Krishna. There's opulence of something so unimaginable, beautiful palaces, beautiful facilities, beautiful women right in front of you. And they're there to attract you to see if you are diverted from your goal of going to the spiritual world. And if you have any tinge of any attraction for this material opulence, then of course it doesn't allow you to go to the higher planets at all. Perhaps there are higher planets where there's obviously material opulence far beyond the earthly planets, as mentioned here, but it doesn't allow you to go to the supreme abode, Goloka Vrindavan. But when you think about Goloka is actually the planet of the cows. So when you actually see that Krishna lives on a planet which is inhabited with millions and millions of cows, not just ordinary cows, they're sort of ever-fulfilling cows that actually, whatever you desire, they actually fulfill whatever desires you have. Now, here Lord Krishna is ordering Uddhava by saying not to go to Bhadrakashram after his departure. And Uddhava, as a pure devotee of the Lord, carried out the order more faithfully than going back to Godhead. He wasn't so keen on going back to Godhead, but was keen on taking the order of the Supreme Lord. That was the cause of his remaining alone, even after the departure of the Lord from the face of the earth. And similarly, when you take the instructions of the spiritual master, you have to take it very seriously, because the spiritual master is the actual personification of Lord Balaram as well. They're actually representatives of Lord Balaram. So in one way, when you actually follow the instructions of the spiritual master, you're also following the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Balaram. Sometimes the spiritual master may ask you to do certain tasks that may be beyond your control, but this is where the test comes in. Just yesterday, Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu was given so many wonderful examples on some of the earlier days of ISKCON, when many of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, they didn't really fully understand the philosophy of Krishna. You have to remember, there were Westerners that were used to the material life, the material culture, and to actually accept a spiritual master wasn't so easy, even though they had so much love for Srila Prabhupada. But from a philosophical point of view, they weren't actually 100% clear. Right now, we have all these wonderful books, the Srimad Bhagavatam, we have the Krishna book, we have the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we have the Association of the Devotees to actually guide us into the wonderful spiritual topics that are actually portrayed in these wonderful spiritual books. But there, at that time, they only had a handful of books itself, probably the first 3 cantos of the Srimad Bhagavatam and the instructions of Srila Prabhupada. So in some cases, when Srila Prabhupada would instruct a particular disciple, I want you to do this, do that, and do that, first, that it would be hesitant and say to Srila Prabhupada, I don't have any qualifications, I don't know what to do. But Srila Prabhupada said, don't worry, Krishna will guide you. And one example that Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu gave was when Srila Prabhupada had this manuscript of the Bhagavad Gita, it so happened Macmillan wanted to print this Bhagavad Gita, and then somehow or another they got in touch with Brahmananda. Brahmananda told Srila Prabhupada, oh, look, Macmillan want to print the Bhagavad Gita, although they printed one previously, but they wanted a more authorized version. And then Srila Prabhupada instructed Brahmananda to go to Macmillan and tell him, yes, please, we want to publish the manuscript of the Bhagavad Gita into a proper Bhagavad Gita book, which everybody could read when it's distributed. But Brahmananda was hesitant and said, well, I don't know anything about publishing. I don't know anything about, marketing or anything. And then Srila Prabhupada said, don't worry, just go to them and they will actually, Krishna will certainly help you. And when he actually went there, he was very surprised. Macmillan said, oh, look, we've been looking for a manuscript of the Bhagavad Gita for many, many months, and you've come at the right time. And Brahmananda, he was very surprised. Anyway, the example I'm trying to give is that just like Uddhava, he listened to the instructions of Lord Krishna. So similarly, we should also listen to the instructions of our spiritual master. And that way, we could become spiritually benefited. Okay. I'll read the next verse. Do you want me to share the screen, or is it shared already? Or is somebody sharing it? So
yes, please.
Okay.
Jyoti Mataji?
Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Right. Verse 29. Shri Shakavacha Brahma Sapapadeshena Kala Namoga Vanchitaha Samritya Swakula Spitam Taksyandeham Achintayat. Translation. Sukadeva Goswami replied, my dear king, the cursing of the Brahmanas was only a plea, but the actual fact was the supreme desire of the Lord. He wanted to disappear from the face of the earth after dispatching his excessively numerous family members. He thought to himself as follows, Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In this verse, the word Yakshan is very significant in relation to the Lord Sri Krishna's leaving his body. Since he is the eternal form of existence, knowledge and bliss, his body and himself are identical. Therefore, how is it possible that he would leave his body and then disappear from the vision of the world? There is a great controversy among the non-devotees or Mayavadis about the mysterious disappearance of the Lord. And the doubts of those men with the poor fund of knowledge have been very elaborately cleared by Srila Jiva Goswami in his Krishna Sandarbha. According to Brahma Samhita, the Lord has many forms. It is stated therein that the Lord has innumerable forms. And when he appears within the vision of the living entities, as Lord Krishna actually appeared, all such forms amalgamate with him. Besides all these infallible forms, he has this universal form as manifested before Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Here in this verse, the word Spitam is also used, which indicates that he left his gigantic universal form called the Virat Rupa, not his primeval eternal form, because there is hardly any possibility of his changing his form of Sachitananda. This simple understanding is at once realized by the devotees of the Lord, but those who are non-devotees, they perform hardly any devotional service to the Lord. Either do not understand a simple fact, or purposely raise a controversy to defeat the eternity of the transcendental body of the Lord. This is due to the defect called the cheating propensity of the imperfect living entities. By practical experience also, it is seen up to the present day that the Lord's transcendental form is worshipped by devotees in different temples, and all the devotees of the Lord factually realize that the form of the deity, the temple, is no different from the form of the Lord. This inconceivable performance of the internal potency of the Supreme Lord is described in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 25. Naham prakasha sarvasya yoga maya samavritaha. The Lord reserves the right of not being exposed to everyone. In the Padma Purana, it is said, Ataha Shri Krishna namadi nabhavik rayam indriyai. The name and form of the Lord cannot be perceived by the material senses. But when he appears within the vision of the mundane people, he assumes the form of the Virat Rupa. This is an additional material exhibition of form, is supported by the logic of subject and its adjectives. In grammar, when an adjective is taken away from the subject it modifies does not change. Similarly, when the Lord quits his Virat Rupa, His eternal form does not change, although there is no material difference between himself and any of his innumerable forms. The fifth canto, it will be seen how the Lord is worshipped in different planets in his different forms, even now, and how he is worshipped in different temples of this earth also. Srila Jiva Goswami and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur have very elaborately explained this incident of the Lord's disappearance in their commentaries, quoting various authentic versions of Vedic literatures. We purposely do not include them all here to avoid and increase the volume of this book. The entire matter is explained in Bhagavad Gita. As quoted above, the Lord reserves the right of not being exposed to everyone. He always keeps himself out of the vision of the non-devotees, who are devoid of love and devotion, and thus he puts them still further away from the Lord. The Lord appeared on the invitation of Brahma, who prayed before the Shiradaksha Vishnu, and therefore when the Lord appeared, all the forms of Vishnu amalgamated with him, and when the mission was fulfilled, all of them disintegrated from him in the usual course. So, just the translation again. Sukadeva Goswami replied, "My dear king, the cursing of the Brahmanas was only a plea, but the actual fact was the supreme desire of the Lord. He wanted to disappear from the face of the earth, after dispatching his excessively numerous family members. He thought to himself as follows." So, as I mentioned earlier on, the cursing of the Brahmanas was only a plea. In fact, it was the Supreme Lord's desire to bring all his family members back to the Supreme Abode. So once I asked a question to His Holiness Bhakti Swami about the fact that during the battlefield of Kurukshetra, when Duryodhana actually went to Krishna to ask Krishna to be on his side, and at the same time Arjuna was there. But although Krishna was resting, but because Duryodhana happened to drop a plate or something which woke the Lord up, but the first person he saw was Arjuna. But Duryodhana happened to come to see Krishna first. And then Duryodhana says, "Look, Krishna, I want you to be on our side of this battle." But Krishna said, "Well, I can't do that. I saw Arjuna first, so I should give him whatever he wants. I can either be on his side, just myself, or you can have the whole of my army, the whole Yadu dynasty." Then Duryodhana was very disappointed. He said, "Well, of course, Arjuna is going to ask for the whole of the Yadu dynasty. It's like such a big army, and they're not just ordinary personalities. But Arjuna, because of his kindness, of love to the Supreme Lord, or as he saw him as his dear friend, said, 'No, dear Keshava, I want you to be on my side. Just you, I don't worry about the Yadu dynasty.'" But anyway, I asked Maharaj that during the battlefield of Kurukshetra, how is it possible to understand that although everybody was defeated, there were only a handful of people who actually, who survived, the 5 Pandavas and a few others, were all the Yadu dynasty annihilated? And they explained that although this was a pastime, that Krishna had a plan already. They weren't obviously just a mature entities. They were obviously special personalities because they were already in Krishna's army. And because of that, they already were taken back to the spiritual world. And I believe even like Duryodhana and many of the people who fought within the war were going to higher planets where all the other Pandavas met them at the end of their lifetimes as well. And then once again, as I mentioned, or rather, here it explains about the Virat Rupa form. It's not his real primeval eternal form, but because he has so many forms, in fact, it says that as many waves there are in the ocean, that's how many transcendental incarnations of the Supreme Lord he appears from one millennium to another millennium, perhaps in one planet, in one universe, into another universe. There's millions and millions of universes, and all the time these pastimes are happening again and again. And sometimes the Srimad Bhagavatam, as we read it from the 12 cantos, this may be just like a minute in terms of like the size of volumes of books of the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, whereas in other universes, perhaps even higher planets than the earthly planets, there may maybe millions and millions of volumes of the Srimad Bhagavatam, all narrated to the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. So right now, Lord Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared 500 years ago, and then Srila Prabhupada appeared 50 years ago. And by the kindness of Srila Prabhupada, we've been given all these wonderful books that we could read and understand more about the wonderful glories of the Supreme Lord. In fact, when we were in India, it's so nice to see when you go to so many beautiful temples, temples of Lord Vishnu, temples of Lord Krishna, different depictions of pastimes of the Supreme Lord, as well as great personalities like Durga Devi and Mahadev. And it's so amazing to see how cultured India is, although there is a division with the material influence as well, but yet a lot of people still have that affection of praying to the Supreme Lord, praying, even they may be material, sort of tinge of material desires, but still the fact that the Supreme Lord says there are 4 types of pious people who worship me: those who are in distress, those who desire wealth, those who are inquisitive, those who are searching for the absolute truth. But as devotees who try to achieve a higher purpose in life, we're slightly beyond those 4 pious devotees. We're trying to achieve that understanding of who the Supreme Personality of Godhead without any sort of rewards in return, but just pure bhakti in our desire to serve Krishna and his devotees. Hopefully, I know I didn't cover everything as much as I should have done. I didn't take any notes, so do forgive me once again. I believe there's normally a class, a kirtan on Sunday evening. Is that right, Sriji Kishore Mataji?
That's correct, Prabhuji. I think Mataji might be there. I'm singing in the end of the session.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Mataji, sorry. Orpita is not able to do the English recitation of the bhajan. Are we on to the bhajan now, Mataji?
No, not yet. I think Prabhuji is asking. There's a bhajan there.
Yes, Mataji,
So
there is a
I
bhajan there.
just
Yes,
asked
Hare
to
Krishna.
ask. We still have 10 minutes more, Prabhuji.
Okay, yeah, sure. So does anybody have any questions you want to raise?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Madhanot Pranamo, glories to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhuji, in the previous verse, Nidhi Nam is Vaikuntha. It's just trying to understand where we...
No, it would be even higher than Vaikuntha planets. Ni means highest, and Dana means opulence. So Nidhanam would be the highest position. So I'll just read this. According to Sri Jiva Goswami, Nidhanam means the transcendental abode of the Lord. So the transcendental abode, of course, will be Goloka, Vrindavan, Goloka Dham. Then, of course, the other planetary systems below that. Then, of course, the Vaikuntha planets. So if they were associates of the Supreme Lord, then surely they would go to the highest planets to be his eternal associates. Just like the Lord appears in this earthly planets, he comes with his entourage. They also come in the form of demigods, taking birth in associates of the Supreme Lord. So they would obviously go back to the heavenly planets where the demigods reside. But here, and Ni means the highest, and Dana means opulence. And because the abode of the Lord is the highest manifestation of transcendental opulence, this abode can therefore be called Nidhanam. Apart from the grammatical elucidation, the real purpose of the word Nidhanam is to indicate that all the members of the Vrishni and Bhoja dynasties are direct associates of the Lord. And after the end of his pastimes, all the associates were dispatched to their respective positions in the transcendental abode. So actually, Namrata Mataji, that could be questionable as well, because if you think about the hierarchy of the planetary system, the devotees who are living in Vrindavan Dham, when Krishna was performing his pastimes, they would, of course, go to Goloka Dham. So here, because Krishna is in the form of a king, in the form of an emperor, so it could be possible that the transcendental abode could also refer to the higher planets, Vaikuntha planets and above planets. So I'll make some inquiries on that if it's okay with you. So maybe my first answer may not be 100% correct, and that they were all going to the respectful Goloka Dham. Yeah.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hari Bol. Thank you. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Let's see if there's anything else in the pulpit I could add. Now, as I mentioned about the attraction,
Prabhuji, can I just say in that the same last verse,
yeah,
about the Akriti also means signal. The
yeah,
Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur also suggests that according to Amarakosha dictionary,
yeah,
Akriti also means signal. Lord
yeah.
Krishna ordered Uddhava by signal. So what sort of a signal do you think Lord Krishna could have given to Uddhava?
Yeah, so basically, if you remember, Lord Krishna actually was an intimate, or rather, Uddhava was a cousin of Lord Krishna. I
Yes.
believe Uddhava's father and Lord Krishna's father were brothers. So Lord Krishna, he spoke very intimately with Uddhava on many occasions. On one of the books that's been written is called the Uddhava Gita.
Gita.
And that is a very, very wonderful book. It's actually covered in portions of it in the Srimad Bhagavatam. But Lord Krishna goes more deeply into the devotional services and worship of the Supreme Lord. It explains that to Lord Krishna, to Uddhava. So in the form of signal, of course, Lord Krishna is omnipotent. He could speak and reside in the hearts of every living entities. So just like sometimes we have a wake-up call, we have a dream, we have some sort of signal, maybe when you're looking at the lordships, a flower falls down, it's giving you some sort of sign. So here, Lord Krishna, if there was a form of signal, it would obviously be like an intimate internal connection to Uddhava. Lord Krishna saying, Uddhava, this is going to be happening. The end of the distraction of Dwarka is coming to an end. And everybody will either go to the heavenly planets or be extinguished in the ocean as it devastates the whole city. So I want you to go to Bhattacashram. So if that signal will be either verbally, it could be through from heart to heart, from the super soul itself. It's not quite clear from Prabhupada's purport, but perhaps in the next verses, when Krishna speaks more, let's just have a quick. My dear king, the cursor of the province was only. Sorry, that's the one we read. Just see if it's got anything on the next verse. I know it's going to be covered tomorrow. So just talk a bit more about the relationship between the discussion between Krishna and Uddhava. So hopefully that'll be covered in the next one.
I think maybe in the verse 30, maybe something written
Yeah.
that there's one there. I think.
So here, only persons engaged in devotional service can factually know the transcendental position of the Lord. Uddhava was considered to be the best amongst all devotees that time. Therefore, he was directly instructed. So that signal was directly instructed, yeah, by the Lord's
Yes,
grace, so that the people might take advantage of Uddhava's knowledge
knowledge.
of the disappearance of the Lord from the vision of the world. So when you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, sometimes it can be confusing because if you remember the few verses we were reading before these verses, Uddhava is instructed Vidura, Uddhava is instructed Maitreya Muni, but now it's almost like going backwards and forwards. It's almost like Back to the Future, going backwards and forwards in time. So you've got to almost understand where you are in that particular timeline as well. But here,
Yes.
as I mentioned, it's directly instructed. So that would be a personal verbal instruction in the signal. I hope that's clear to you, Mamta Mataji.
Yes, that's absolutely. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Krishna.
Thank you. So shall I pass it on to the singer for tonight?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, my Dharma Pram, who glories to Srila Prabhupada. Very nicely explained, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. So, Prabhuji, for today's bhajan, we have dear Mamta Mataji who will be singing the beautiful bhajan, Pralaya Payodini Jale.
Oh,
But
wow.
before, yes, it's a beautiful bhajan, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Because I heard her singing today. And but before she sings, we have dear Jyoti Mataji who will do the English recitation, please. Thank you, Mataji, when you're ready, Jyoti Mataji.
Okay. Did you want to share or shall I share? It's up to you.
I think
Oh,
Mataji
you're
is sharing
she's
already.
sharing.
Jyoti
Okay, yeah.
Mataji sharing.
That's
Yes.
fine.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a fish. All glories to you. You easily acted as a boat in the form of a giant fish just to give protection to the Vedas, which had become immersed in the turbulent sea of devastation. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a tortoise, all glories to you. In this incarnation as a divine tortoise, the great Mandara mountain rests upon your gigantic back as a pivot for churning the ocean of milk. From holding up the huge mountain, a large scar like depression is put in your back, which has become most glorious. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a boar, all glories to you, the earth, which has become I merged in the Gardboka ocean at the bottom of the universe, sits fixed upon the tip of your tusk like a spot upon the moon. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of half man, half lion. All glories to you. Just as one can easily crunch a wasp between one's fingernails, so in the same way, the body of the wasp, like a demon Hiranyakasipu, has been ripped apart by the wonderful pointed nails on your beautiful lotus hands. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a dwarf Brahmana, all glories to you, O wonderful dwarf. By your massive steps you deceive King Bali, and by the Ganges water that has emanated from the nails of your lotus feet, you deliver all living beings within this world. O Kesava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of Brigupati, Parasuram, all glories to you. All at Kurukshetra, you bathe the earth in the rivers of blood from the bodies of he, demonic Kshatriyas that you have slain. The sins of the worlds are washed away by you, and because of you, people are relieved room the blazing fire of material existence. O Kesava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, you have assumed the form of Ramachandra. All glories to you in the battle of Lanka. You destroy the 10-headed demon Ravana and distribute his heads as a delightful offering to the preceding deities of the 10 directions, headed by Indra. This action was long desired by all of them, who were much harassed by this monster. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, you have assumed the form of Balaram, the elder of the prowl. All glories to you. On your brilliant white body you wear garments the color of a fresh blue rain cloud. These garments are colored like the beautiful dark hue of the river Yamuna, who feels great fear due to the striking of your plowshare. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of Buddha, all glories to you, O Buddha of compassionate heart. You dare see the slaughtering of poor animals performed according to the rules of Vedic sacrifice. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who, who has who have assumed the form of Kalki, all glories to you. You appear like a comet and carry a terrifying sword for bringing about the annihilation of the wicked barbarian men at the end of Kali Yuga. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed these 10 different forms of incarnation, all glories to you, O readers. Please hear this hymn of the poet Jayadeva, which is most excellent, an awarder of happiness, a bestower of auspiciousness, and it is the best thing in this dark world. O Lord Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you, who appeared in the form of these 10 incarnations. In the form of Matsya, you rescue the Vedas, and as Kama, you bear the Mandara mountain on your back. As Varaha, you lift the earth with your tusk, and in the form of Narasimha, you tear up open the chest of the Daitya Hiranyakashipu. In the form of Vamana, you trick the Daitya King Bali by asking him for only 3 steps of land, and then you take away the whole universe from him by expanding your steps. As Parasuram, you slay all of the wicked Kshatriyas, and as Ramachandra, you all the living beings suffering in this world, and at the end of the Kali Yuga, you appear as Kalki to bewilder the malicious, degraded low-class men. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can I start? So this is Sri Dasavatara Stotram written by Jayadeva Goswami and in the book called Gita Govinda. प्रलयपयोधि चले धृतवानसि वेदम् विहितवहित्रचरित्रमखेदम् केशवधृतमीन शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे क्षितिरिह विपुलतरे तिष्ठति तव पृष्ठे धरणि धारणा किन चक्रगरिष्ठे केशवधृत कूर्म शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे वसति दशन शिखरे धरणी तव लग्ना शशिनिकलंक कलेवरिमग्ना केशवधृत शूकर रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तव कर कमलवरेणाखम् अद्भुत शृङ्गम् दलित हिरण्यकशिपूतनुभृङ्गम् केशवधृत नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे चलयसि विक्रमणे बलिम् अद्भुत वामना पदनखनीरचनित जन पावन केशवधृत वामन रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे क्षत्रिय रुधिरमये जगदपगत पापम् स्नपयसि पयसि शमित भवतापम् केशवधृत भृगुपति रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे वितरसि दिक्षुरणे दिक्पति कमनीयम् दशमुखमौलिबलिं रमणीयम् केशवधृत राम शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे वहसि वपुषि विशदे वसनं जलदाभम् हलहति भीतिमिलितयमुनाभम् केशवधृत हलधर रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे निन्दसि यज्ञविधेरहः श्रुतिजातम् सदय हृदय दर्शित पशुघातम् केशवधृत बुद्ध शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे म्लेच्छ निवाहनिधने कलयसि करवालम् धूमकेतुमिव किम् अपि करालम् केशवधृत कल्कि शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे श्री जयदेव कवेरिदमुदितमुदारम् श्रीनुसुखदं शुभदं भवसारम् केशवधृत दशविधरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे वेदान् उद्धरते जगन्ति वहते भूगोलम् उद्धिभ्रते दैत्यं धारयते बलिं चलयते शत्रक्षयं कुर्वते पौलस्त्यं जयते हलं कलयते कारुण्यमातन्वते म्लेच्छान्मुच्यते दशकृति कृते कृष्णाय तुभ्यं नमः हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे जय श्री कृष्णा
Hari Bol Mataji, beautiful singing Mataji, beautiful and beautiful recitation by Jyoti Mataji.
Thank you so much, Aditi. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you. So well sung that. It's a beautiful song. It's not an easy song to sing, but thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank
and
you,
for the
Prabhuji.
translation as well. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. And hopefully you can all join in tomorrow as well. Keep yourself warm. It's going to be a very cold week. And I believe it's a Kardashi on Tuesday. So
Yes,
try and
Prabhuji.
observe if you can as well. And take care, everyone. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha,
कृपा
Kripasindubhya
सिन्धुभ्य एव
च
च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
Vaishnavebhyo
वैष्णवेभ्यो
Namo
नमो
Namaha.
नमः.
Jai
Thank you,
Nanda
Prabhuji, for the
Kotapesha
wonderful
Vindaki Jai.
Jai.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the wonderful class, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Shubha Bhagavatam ki, Shri Prabhupada
Jai.
ki Jai.
Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.